Good evening, folks. This is Lee from J&L Shooting Academy. I hope y'all are doing all right today. Like I said, I'm going to try and get more content on this channel as we grow, especially with the business. But what I want to talk to you today, whether you're trying to start your own shooting business or whatever the case may be, some things you need to consider anytime that really, when you travel around the house. If you go to the shooting range or you're at the shooting range, it's first aid kit. Now you might be saying, well, what's he talking about? Well, you never know what might happen, God forbid. Let's say you're outside taking a hike through the woods. Always take a small backpack. Put a little bit of food, a little bit of water, first aid kit, something to signal with, that kind of thing if you're out hiking. If in every one of your vehicles, put some type of first aid kit. I've got something in each one of my vehicles. If you're going to a range or you have your own range, or if you're just going to go shoot in your backyard, make sure you got a first aid kit readily available. And you're saying to yourself, well, I'm in my own backyard. I can just go inside and get what I need. Friends, neighbors, not meaning to burst anybody's bubbles, but from the time something happens to you get to your back door to get back in your house, you could bleed out that quick. And I'm not trying to say that to scare anybody, but I am trying to get people to start thinking that when I'm out shooting, when I'm out at the range, I need to have my first aid kit nearby, readily available. Not just for your own personal use, but let's say you have company over shooting, or you're, whatever the case may be. And I'm about to show you the one that I've got for the business. So when I start having students out on our range, we'll have this out, and it will go out every time I have students. So turn this thing around, and I got a little bit of everything in here, and I probably need to work on a little bit better organization, but I've got the things in here I need. Compressed gauze, slings, okay, and those old army ones, but they're still good. A little bit of tape. I would highly recommend, when you get your own first aid kit, you put in one or two of these Israeli bandages. It's what we called them in the Army when we first started getting them. A person who's hurt can actually put this on their self if need be. All right. Rubber tubing for tourniquet application, a type of tourniquet application. I'd recommend you invest in these self-applicating tourniquets. Again, these are something that a person can place on themselves if they have a wound of the extremity and they need to stop the bleeding. And I'm going to stop right there right quick to talk about tourniquets for a minute. There used to be an old adage in the Army, and I can't speak for the rest of the service, but I'm sure it's fairly similar, that a tourniquet was always of last resort. And the reason being was that if you put on a tourniquet after so long of a tourniquet being on, chances are the person was going to lose that limb. Yeah, there was some truth to that. But now, technology being what it is, and surgeons being what they are, a lot of times they're saying get the tourniquet on to stop the bleeding, and they can fix all that at the hospital. So just thought I'd share that with you. But have at least one, if not two of these in your kit. Some more compressed gauze. Flashlight, in case it's low-level light or it's nighttime. The grip wrap, which makes a great dressing holder to hold your pressure dressing or gauze dressing over a wound. Just a little Johnson & Johnson small personal first aid kit, but I threw it in there anyway. Band-aids, whatnot might be in there, Like I said, the Israeli bandages. Splinting material. Now, you're wondering, what in the world? You never know. Somebody fall and break a leg, break an arm. You just never know what's going to happen out there. Your regular band-aids for cuts, nicks, scratches, what have you. See if I can get this bad boy open. Okay. Do not ask me to pronounce this. I never could pronounce it in the Army, but it's supposed to go down into the throat, help open up the airway kind of deal. I didn't volunteer to practice that, by the way, but I have it anyway. And again, another type of tourniquet device that can be used. Hand sanitizer. Have you some hand sanitizer in your first aid kit. Clean your hands off before you start messing with somebody's wounds. I put in some Tylenol. Okay. Now, you think to yourself, Tylenol, okay. Another thing, low-dose aspirin. You're saying to yourself, what do I need low-dose aspirin for? You might have somebody that starts to have a heart attack. Low-dose aspirin might save their life. Some razors for, if you have to cut some clothing back, that kind of thing. Some safety pin if you got to pin some things together. Liquid bandage for small cuts and scrapes. Stuff actually works pretty good. Burns like crazy, but it works. It works. So, got all that. Need to try and get some better cases, if that's all right. If you're wondering where I got the toolkit from, I got it at Harbor Freight. These are their stackables. So, come in handy for a lot of things. Okay, bleed stop. I picked this up at Walgreens. All right, for minor cuts to large bleeding wounds. It's kind of the civilian version of Quick Clot. Okay, however, I would tell you right now, use this as a very last measure before you've tried, and if you absolutely have to. Stuff does work, but there are potential side effects to it. From what my son tells me, working in the ER. But if that's all you have, use it. That's the reason I've got it, because like I said, I've got another box of it in here. Another thing, this right here, I'm not going to open it all the way back up because it's a pain in the butt to fold back and put it in here. But this is, on the inside is a silver lining, but this is an emergency space blanket. Make sure you have at least one of those in. Why? Somebody starts to lose a lot of blood, they start to get cold. Keeping them warm aids with the stopping of the blood loss. All right, keeping them warm. Another first aid dressing. Most of this stuff, stuff I'd accumulated from the Army, or my buddies that are still in the Army have given me. Stuff's still good, still does what it's supposed to do. And again, you don't have to buy all this stuff at one time. You can slowly accumulate this over time, what have you. There are kits that you can buy that are got all this stuff in them already. There's, you can build your own. I've got some that I bought, had X amount of X, Y, and Z on it. Antibiotic cream with pain relief cream. Okay. More tape, more gauze. You never have enough gauze in the first aid kit. Gauze has multiple purposes. And what do we got over here? Get this bad boy open up. Antiseptic wipes are always handy to have. Okay, I've got a few of those in here. And again, we have petroleum gauze. More sling material. More regular gauze. Again, I'm not a paramedic. I'm not an EMT. I'm just a guy that's trying to run a business and praying to God that nothing ever happens while I'm out on the range. But if there is, I want to be ready. Okay, I got more tape, gauze pads. I've got rubber gloves. I'd highly recommend you make sure you got rubber gloves. The reason being, God forbid, you never know, what the person might have. So you want to protect yourself as well as trying to help them out. So make sure you have you some rubber gloves in there as well. Like I said, in the Israeli bandages, you can get, believe it or not, I found those two I ordered off of eBay. Not eBay, excuse me, Amazon. I know, communist Amazon. I've learned that I just gotta go where I need to go to get certain things. When you're trying to save $1 or $2. Oh, I think I put some up here in this other piece up here that's not all first aid. This is mostly PPE that I've got up in here. That's the other thing when you're on range. Avi Pro, Hearing Pro. Okay. Now for the business, I prepackaged those, so if, God forbid somebody forgets their PPE, I've got some spares that they can they can purchase for a small fee. Anyway, I was looking for another set of bandages. I had the clear hemostatic bandages. I've got some packed away somewhere. All right, I'm sitting here spinning around the office. Anyway, folks, I just want to share that with you on this segment today. Again, I can't stress enough the need to make sure you got a first aid kit when you're out on the range or you're out hiking, camping, traveling, whatever the case may be. Have some type of first aid kit available and ready to go. Because God forbid, you never know when you might have to use it. It's better to have it, not need it, than to need it, not have it. Okay. And as Suit 00 says, if you've got one, you got none. If you got two, you got one. So build you a couple of them. Like I said, have one for each one of your vehicles. Have one for inside your home. Have one for emergency travels. And when I say emergency travels, in other words, you've got to get up and you've got to move. And you can grab it and run with it, go with it, do what you got to do with it, okay? Trying to think what else I can share with you today. I think that's going to do it for now. But until we get another one out soon, hopefully we'll get another one out next week. But until then, my friends, this is Lee from J&L Shooting Academy. God bless and Godspeed. And hope to talk to y'all soon. Talk to y'all later.